What's up everyone, welcome back to the Carnarium. I'm Waste and I got another video for you today. There's no face cam this week. My kiddos are sick, so I'm making this video with a little less prep time, but I still wanted to make a video so you guys had something to watch this week. So a few weeks ago I made a Sauron the Dark Lord brawl video, and the video did really well, and there were a lot of people that were interested in how the deck was built. So I figured I could go over the deck list and break down some of the cards and the decisions of why I put these cards in versus other cards, and then we can hop in the queue and play some games. So Sauron, as I'm sure you know, is a 6-mana Grixis commander with a really good ward ability and a couple really good auxiliary abilities. So the ward is sacrifice a legendary artifact or legendary creature. It's a really hard ward cost to pay. So Sauron essentially has pseudo hexproof, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell, amass Orcs 1. So we create an Orc army token and put a +1/+1 counter on it. If we already have an Orc army token, we just add another +1/+1 counter to it, so it can get really, really big. Whenever an army you control deals combat damage to a player, the ring tempts you. And whenever the ring tempts you, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 4 cards. Being able to discard our hand and draw 4 is really good in Grixis, because we can refill our hand. And a lot of the times we're not really discarding our hand. We don't have any cards in hand, or we only have one non-useful card in hand, and so we're getting rid of that to draw a fresh 4 cards. So the way most people build this deck is by including every single card that says the ring tempts you. And if we go ahead and do a quick search here, you can see that I only have 5 cards in the deck that actually say that, besides Sauron himself. And that's because a lot of the cards that say the ring tempts you are not that great. If we take a look at some of them, you know, we have Birthday Escape in the deck. That's really good, 1 mana cantrip, and then the ring tempts us, so that's fine. It is at sorcery speed, which is a little bit of a bummer. It'd be really cool if it was an instant, but it's fine, 1 mana, no big deal. And then we got cards like this, Glorious Gale, counter target creature spell. If it was a legendary spell, the ring tempts you. This one's arguable to put in the deck because Essence Scatter is a good card. You know, everyone has a commander. Most of the time that commander is a creature, so this is kind of like, you could reread this as counter target commander if it was a legendary spell, which, you know, it would be because it's the commander, the ring tempts you. So that's all right. That's a candidate for maybe, right? Soothing of Smeagol, return target non-token creature to its owner's hand, the ring tempts you. That's fine. But I like bounce effects that target non-land permanents, because targeting just a creature is a little too narrow. Like ideally, like with a Cyclonic Rift, we can bounce anything, right? Return target non-land permanent you control, and we get the flexibility of overloading it, so we can bounce everything that our opponent controls back to their hand. So, you know, Cyclonic Rift is strictly better than Soothing of Smeagol, right? Even though it says the ring tempts you on it. Dreadful as the Storm, target creature has base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn, the ring tempts you. It's kind of a niche card in a, you know, mono blue weenie deck or something like that, where you're trying to make your small creature big and then attack the opponent. Not really useful in our deck. We have Golem's Bite in the deck, and this is arguably not good enough either, because it's just -2/-2, but, you know, we'll take the removal where we can get it. I value removal pretty highly. Sam's Desperate Rescue, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, the ring tempts you. We're not a really big heavy creature deck. Maybe in a creature deck this would be, you know, a good, you know, get a creature back from the graveyard into your hand. If it was return it to the battlefield, that would be nuts, and they would definitely be in the deck, but return it to your hand, it's okay. We have Call of the Ring in the deck, another Golem, and I'm not going to read all of these because I don't want to bore you to death, but they're just okay. Nazgul, you could run all of the Nazguls in the deck. I've seen people do that. It's definitely not a bad strategy, but you kind of have to be a mid-range Sauron deck. So this is the control version of Sauron. If I was playing the mid-range version of Sauron, then I would probably have all the Nazgul in my deck, because these are good cards, and if you get all of them down, they're really good with each other. And they're obviously going to trigger the ring tempting you. But in our control shell, not really what we want. Let's see if there's any red ones. So we have the Ranger's Firebrand, which is, honestly, I think I'm going to take this out. I think I'd rather just have Lightning Bolt. It's just strictly better. This is a sorcery, so it's already worse than Shock, which is an instant. And the ring tempting you is, you know, again, it's okay, but we can have the ring tempt us anytime our army does combat damage. So we always have ways to, we don't need extra cards to trigger the claws. We always have a way to do it just by having Sauron. Putting a card that's less good than another card in the deck just to get the claws of the ring tempting us is making our deck weaker. So I might actually just change this one out. This one's pretty good. I think I had this in the deck originally, but I found that it was just a little too slow, but it is really good. If you can get it down early and you're not under pressure, then all of the spells in our deck essentially trigger this, and you start to do a lot of damage to the opponent. But what I found what would actually happen is I would draw this on turn 7 when I needed a board wipe, or I was in a, I was in the lead and I needed like a planeswalker or some other kind of spell to just kind of close the game out, and I would draw this instead, and it was just kind of awkward in the curve. So I took it out, replaced it with something else. But it is a good card. You could argue that it should be in the deck, but I did play with it for a while, and I just eventually took it out. This is kind of interesting. Target creature an opponent controls deals damage equal to its power to another target creature that player controls, and the ring tempts you. Is good, but again, it's narrow. Like if you're playing against a deck that is really low to the ground, I'd rather just sweep the board, right? I'd rather just languish. This is cute, but it's kind of like a 1-for-1 removal, and I'd rather have one for all of their creature type of removal in the deck. This is targeted removal, but it could be better. It's the same thing with this. This is targeted removal, but it could be better. At least like Haggard Mauling is a land too, right? The more I talk about it, the more I want to take this out. But it's the same reason why Breaking the Fellowship is not in the deck. And then we start getting into the 5-mana spells. This is more of a commander card. Doesn't really work in Brawl. It's too slow. And then we have the 1-mana rock that adds 1 mana of any color. The ring tempts us. So Sauron's 6 mana. So we're putting in a strictly worse mana rock than like a 2-mana rock in terms of speed and tempo, but because the ring tempts us and it adds 1 mana of any color, and we are a 3-color deck, it's okay. So like I said, a lot of the ring tempts you cards are just not great. They're just not great. So forcing them in the deck doesn't really make the deck better. It makes the deck worse. What makes the deck better is just playing the best shell of Grixis control you can, and then plopping down Sauron, right? And then using the Orc Army token to get your, draw 4 if you want it. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and take out Ranger's Firebrand right now and add in Bolt, because it's just strictly better. It's instant speed. It does 3 damage instead of 2. So it's just strictly better. It's the same 1 red mana. Really, really good card. And that's my overall advice to people when they're building this deck. Don't fall into the trap of adding every single ring tempts you card. It's really easy to do. I think if you're playing this in Commander, you could probably build it that way. But in Brawl, it's just too slow. A lot of the cards are worse versions of cards that you already have access to on Arena, and so you might as well just play the good cards. Don't use the creature bounce spell, use the Cyclonic Rift, right? Don't use the Ranger's Firebrand, use the Lightning Bolt. They're just better cards. They make your deck better. Sauron is already really, really good. You don't need to trigger the ring tempts you clause with this deck to be good. Just put more card draw in the deck, right? And then every once in a while, if you have the opportunity to get down your Inherit Envelope or play your Birthday Escape and draw a fresh 4, then great. It's added value, but it's not like the entire design of the deck. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out about the way that I built my Sauron deck. The other thing I wanted to say was, Sauron is 6 mana, so don't be shy about putting in your ramp, right? We're in Grixis, so ramp is kind of hard to come by. You kind of have to play mana rocks. So look, I'm playing almost every single mana rock that is in the 2-mana slot, and Inherited Envelope because it tempts us, but it is also a mana rock. And in the games, you'll notice I get Sauron out by turn 6 pretty consistently. And I think if you can do that, if you can play a game where you play Grixis control for the first 5 turns, and then you get Sauron down, and the board stays basically you have Sauron, you have a nice 5 or 6 cards in hand, the opponent has nothing on board, or a mana dork or something that's not nearly as good because you've killed everything, you've wiped the board, and then you plop down Sauron. They're one, not going to be able to get rid of Sauron because they can't target it because of the ward ability, and 2, every spell they play is going to amass you an orc. So you're going to make them playing the game is going to make your board bigger. That's kind of the duality of Sauron. It's hard to fight against because even as you try to fight against it, you're making your enemy's board bigger. You're making the Sauron player's board better. So I recommend if you're going to play the control version of Sauron, do it that way. Play the best version of Grixis control you can in the first 4, 5, 6 turns. Try to ramp into Sauron. Get Sauron down on curve or early if you can. and then just hold up all your sweet Grixis cards and continue to stop the opponent from doing everything they want and beat their face in with Sauron. That's the tried and true method of this deck. And it makes it fun because most Grixis control decks aren't trying to get down a big beater, you know, or play their commander as a win con on curve. They're trying to like get to 8, 9, 10 mana so they can hold up counters, and then they'll play their commander once they know the coast is clear. But you don't have to do that with Sauron. You can plop them down on curve, and no matter what the opponent does, it's still going to be really hard for them to get back in the game. That's why if you watch the video, a lot of times I would play Sauron, and that turn they would scoop. They wouldn't even try to play out the rest of the game because they knew it was an uphill battle. So I think if you follow those two guidelines, not forcing the ring Tempsu cards in the deck and trying to ramp into Sauron on curve, I think if you follow those guidelines, you'll have a lot of fun with Sauron. Now again, if you're going to play Sauron a different way, you're going to play the mid-range version of Sauron, or you know, you're going to be really extreme and play the aggro version of Sauron, which you totally can do. Then obviously the deck rules are completely different and you'll have to figure those out on your own. I plan on making a mid-range version of Sauron, so I guess I'll go over my thoughts about that shell when I build it. But this is just for the control version of Sauron. I just think you pack the best control Grixis cards you can into the deck. You know, like I said, we got the Cyclonic Rifts, the Brainstorms, Dark Rituals, we just added Lightning Bolt, Thoughtseize. I mean, these are all the staples of Grixis colors. Expressive Iteration, get the One Ring in there, Sheoldred. I mean, these are just good Grixis cards. If you build your deck like that, you're going to have a good time. And then the mana, you know, I know some players don't have all the wild cards to crack all these rare lands. It is unfortunate the way the arena economy works because it's just so hard to get all these lands. But if you are a player that has access to all these, you know, you should put them in because it just makes playing Sauron on curve that much easier. If you have all your colors consistently, you're going to be able to play Sauron no problem. And part of that is the fetch land package. Make sure you have all the fetch lands in there so that you can go and fetch your Xander's Lounge or your Blood Crypt whenever you need that color pairing. If you have a couple lands in hand and your mana's okay, you can go and fetch a Surveil land and get some extra value on turn one, you know, like the Rash's Theater or the other ones. If your mana is not good, you can always go and fetch Xander's Lounge and then immediately fix your mana on turn one. So the fetch lands give you a ton of versatility, so they should definitely be in your deck. And then all the other lands are basically just utility, like Rivendell and Castle Locthwain. We're only playing 5 basic lands. We want some basics in the deck. Don't play no basics. That's a recipe for disaster. If someone, you know, Field of Ruins you or something like that, then you'll have no basic to fetch. If you're in a pinch and you don't want to lose any life when you crack your Arid Mesa, you know, you don't want to shock in. You don't want to take 1 life for this and then 2 life for Blood Crypt, so 3 life total. Then you can always go and fetch a basic, which won't hurt you. So you do want basics in the deck, just not a ton. So I think 5 is a good amount. Our 2 highest colors in this shell are black and blue, so we're playing 2 each of those, and then red is kind of the least used, so we're playing 1 mountain. And I think with this package, you'll be able to very consistently get Sauron out on curve. And then if you look at our actual mana curve, I mean, the 1-drop and 2-drop slot are very, very, very heavy. And then it kind of scales down, right? So we're playing tons of interaction on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, right? The cadence of the deck wants to be kill their thing, you know, turn 2, play a mana rock, maybe look in their hand, you know, counter their next spell. You know, you're trying to like tempo them out in the first couple turns while building your mana. So if you can kill something, ramp, kill something, ramp, take the best card out of their hand, ramp, like then you're doing the thing. You're playing the Grixis control game. You know, maybe you counter something along the way, right? Counter their best spell, or you get them with the Jawari Disruption, you counter their commander because they tried to play it on curve, they didn't have any extra mana to pay the 1. Maybe they're an aggro deck and you wait on Sauron 1 extra turn so that you can play your Cyclonic Rift and bounce everything back to their hand. You know, every game will be a little bit different, but these cards give you the versatility to stall until you can get Sauron down and your other win cons. So yeah, that's my breakdown of Sauron. Let's go ahead and hop into some games and see how the deck works. But real quick, if you like this kind of content, subscribe, like the video, turn on the notifications. If you want to join the Discord link is in the description. And before you leave, make sure to leave a comment down below. How would you build Sauron the Dark Lord? All right, we get to go first. We're playing against Fuzzmaster. That's a sick name. And they're playing the Jolly Balloon Man, which has the creepiest art in Magic the Gathering's history. Ugh. And it basically, it comes down as haste. They can create a token copy of another target creature, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature. And then they have to sacrifice it at the next end step. So Wash Away is good. Good mana. Yeah, we have board wipe and a way to draw more cards and ramp. I think we're just going to have to get the Xander's Lounge here. I would love to Surveil, but then we won't have blue mana, so I think we have to get Xander's Lounge. Let's just be responsible and fix our mana. Sure, we do not care about that. Oh, there's blue mana. Yeah, let's just play the tapped land while we can. We're not under any pressure. All right, cool. Play that tapped, pass the turn. Do we want to counterspell that? I'm not sure we do. Let's just pass. Leave all of our options up. We can big score if we want. We can counterspell, or we can Prismari command. And Harmonicon. That's definitely something we want to counter. So let's... We could play big score, make 2 treasures, and counter it. What are we discarding? Probably Ashiok. Right? Because we want the deadly cover-up. Maybe the Prismari command. Yeah. Get rid of that. We got another board wipe, so that's cool. We can actually, let's just Ashiok and put this guy back into their hand. Or do we do that, or do we make a 2/3? Yeah, let's put it back. We don't care if they replay it. That's why I had the pause there. I don't care if they draw another card. We have Sauron next turn anyway. Oh, what a card. Welp. That wasn't what I was expecting. Such a good card. I hope they flush out this whole cycle. I love the card design of the Escape Elder Giants. Yeah. Sauron? Anatithe? No. They are in white, so they can wipe the board if they want. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control. Oh, I was seeing if it affected us too, but it does not. I'm telling you, Sauron on curve gets them every time. Alright, opponent gets to go first. We're playing against Sovereign, which is Ward 2. Whenever Sovereign attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power, put that number +1/+1 counters. Okay, so +1/+1 counter deck. We have Languish, but that might not be good against a deck that goes tall. We can counterspell their commander. I think that's probably good, right? Yeah, we'll keep. We can fetch blue sources with these. So we'll have double blue for counterspell. Inquisition of Kozilek is nice. Okay, so let's get that down and pass. Commander is 4 mana, so we have a little time. I might just fetch the Tri-Land, just so we fix our mana. Because we do have like double blue, double black. So it'd be nice to just have good mana going forward. Alright, yeah, our mana is fine, so we don't need to worry about mana. We could Inquisition here and Surveil land or something like that. It's probably good. They can't play their commander next turn. So let's go ahead and Inquisition. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Mammoth. Springheart and Tucko. That's a broken card. And creature go get +1/+1. Exile target online permanent. Don't control. Okay, let's definitely get rid of the Springheart. This card is a combo piece on a stick. That wasn't in their hand. Botanical Brawler enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on a opponent you control for the first time, blah, blah, blah. So just more +1/+1 counters. Gotta love Silenzia decks. They just love their +1/+1 counters. Feed the Swarm. I mean, it's removal, right? Yeah, we'll take it. We got plenty of life to spare. Can also hit an enchantment if we need to. Okay, so they play their Mammoth as a land, so we don't need to worry about that coming down next turn. They probably want to play their commander, right? So yeah. Commander time? No. Kadama. So let's read their commander again. Whenever it attacks, for each creature you control with power greater. Okay, so if they don't have a way to give this haste, it comes down and is still a 3/4. So I think we counter this guy. This is another nasty combo creature. They can blow up the... yeah, if we play this, they're just going to blow it up. So let's not do that. We can feed the Swarm their Brawler. And then what do they got going on? No, because they got the Dominus. We really need to get rid of that. Sacrifice 2 other creatures. Okay, they can't play that for a while, though. Let's pass. Opponent. Bulldog. Target creature explores. Well, how about it doesn't? And they got rid of their artifact and enchantment removal. So let's go ahead and double ramp here. Board is clear. We can get down 2 mana rocks. And we're looking good. What do we want? We got double black, double blue, double red, triple red actually. So I think we need more blue because we got double blue here, double blue here. Commander time. No land, huh? Let's... can we Iron Crag and then Time Warp? Yeah, I think so, huh? So if we do it like this and like this, Iron Crag, Time Warp, Misty Rainforest, wipe the board. Hit you for 2. Ozolith, not the good Ozolith, the new Ozolith. Okay, sure. Do we have another Surveil land? That would be sweet. We do. That could be good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's a good option. We'll keep that. Okay, they redrew their Brawler. This is a 7/6, so we kind of want to wait till they play this, although they're really... They haven't played a land in a while. So do we just plop this down? Probably, right? Yep. I think we'll just do it like that. Okay. It's a 5/5. Is this a legendary artifact? It is. Okay. Trigger. Resolve. Yep, so they gotta sack their Ozolith. That's fine, we'll take that. We can just replay Sauron next turn. That player puts a random creature card with lesser mana value from their library onto the battlefield. What could that be? Fairy Mastermind? Alright, sure. It has Trample. Do we even block? Sure. They're still missing land drops, so that's why I'm not super worried about that. Okay, so we can just play Sauron again? I mean, that was their big play, right? They had a legendary artifact that they could use. Let's not miss our land drops. And we'll attack with the Mastermind. Okay, it's a 9/9. Do we block? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We would have enough mana, right? 6, 8. No, we wouldn't have enough mana to replay Sauron. I think we just take the 9. We could have blocked with this, actually. That's what we should have done. Taken 8. They're missing their land drops, so like... It's not looking good for the opponent. They don't have haste, really. So... Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Now we can start... do we draw fresh 4? Yeah, I think we do. Sure. Yep, seems good. Take a look on top. We don't need a land. All right, and then we can flash in Bowmasters if we need to. The Ring Bearer's legendary can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Okay, so this could block. This could block our guy. Pass. I think we'll crack the Mind Stone here. Draw a card. Okay. Just run it out. Behold the Multiverse. Let's go ahead and play that. Okay, opponent had enough. We had lots of ways to draw more cards. We could have shuffled away our hand, draw a fresh 7. We could have gotten in with the Orc Army and discarded our hand. We were going to scry 2, then draw 2 here. We could have activated Fairy Mastermind to draw another card. So we had a lot of ways to look for more stuff, but we were just looking for a way to kill this, essentially. Because then we're attacking with 9, 11. Yeah, we have lethal on board. So if we kill this, we kill them, right? So that's probably why they scooped. GG. All right, real quick deck review. I really love this deck. I've said it many times. Like I said in the intro, if you play the Grixis control shell, I think this is the right way to go. If you just play the best Grixis cards and you don't overload on the Ring Tempsu cards, I think you're gonna have a good time. This deck has plenty of removal and card draw, ways to stop the opponent from doing what they want to do, and a super powerful commander that takes over the game if it comes down. So if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all the things. I'll be back again next week with another Brawl video, this time with Facecam, I promise. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.